first question that usually comes up is, how did Krishna tell all that he had to tell? Because it takes such a long time. Even now, if we sit at home and start reading it, it seems to take a lot of time. Now, we should imagine that the circumstance in which we are there today is quite different from what people were long time back. The language in which Arjuna and Krishna used to converse was Sanskritam, which was their mother tongue. Even today when we go to Samskrita Bharati, people are so conversant in Sanskritam and they speak it really, really fast. It's their native language. Krishna and Arjuna both were so fluent. On an average, it is said that anywhere between 13 to 15 minutes is the max we take to read 100 slokas. Now, 700 slokas were there, but we should remember one sloka was told by Dhritarashtra. There were around 41 slokas which was told by Sanjaya. So only the remaining slokas were actually the conversation between Arjuna and Krishna. So how long would it have taken? Possibly a little over 1 hour, and that is all happened. And after that there was 1 full hour after which the actual war or the shooting took place. One other question which usually arises is, if all this discussion happened in a battlefield, how was Arjuna able to concentrate? Because a lot of noise would have been there, different emotions would have been there, and this is such an important topic, especially about spiritual upliftment. How did this happen there? Krishna seems to have chosen a battlefield, but what happens to Arjuna's mindset at that point of time? Now, this is a very interesting question, because at that point of time, Arjuna had to focus. But here Krishna is there, who is able to help Arjuna focus on whatever he is explaining. Also, Krishna is trying to tell us that even in a war zone, self-upliftment is extremely important. Spiritual knowledge is extremely important. For a person who does not know whether he has to follow dharma, it is extremely important to understand that even a war zone is not an exception. We have to work on our spiritual upliftment. Even if our own life is in danger, we have to work on lifting ourselves. So the focus is there. Arjuna is capable of focusing because Krishna's help is there for Arjuna. So in spite of a battlefield, if this can be done, in spite of our regular routine, we have no reasons to say that we don't have time, I had other priorities, so I'm not able to focus. You see, there's so much of distraction, hence my spiritual upliftment is not possible. So Krishna is not giving us any options. He says that if this is possible for Arjuna, it should be possible for every one of us. And this is yet another reason why Krishna chose battlefield. Now imagine a situation where a child gets admission in a leading school, college or university. Now a child joins IITs or IIMs. We are so proud, we call the child as a very intelligent child. If the child gets the very first rank in one of the leading B schools, we call him super intelligent. The best professor of that college, B school or university is conversing with the best student and clarifying all the doubts that this best student has. And this is video recorded. Imagine how useful it will be for every other student who wants to have all his doubts clarified. A similar situation is there for us. The best of the teachers, Lord Krishna, now teaches the best of the students, who is Arjuna. In fact, Arjuna and Krishna are often referred to as Nara Narayana also. How useful it's going to be for each one of us. In this situation, what is the need for Arjuna to address Krishna with so many different names would be the obvious question. When I was thinking about this question, I started visualizing a few answers and just sharing that now. There is a quote in Sanskritam which says, Vidya dadati vinayam, which means that knowledge leads to humility. When we look at everybody around us, they seem to be knowledgeable, they seem to hold great designations, but are everybody humble? The instant answer is not everybody. Maybe some are humble, some are not. We do see people with a lot of high egos as well. So, Vidya dadati vinayam, knowledge leads to humility, Is that actually a right statement? If knowledge leads to humility, why are so many people having high egos? In fact, today if we observe, even the kids of college or of schools, the moment they score well or they receive some acknowledgements, some prizes, immediately they have a high ego. They in fact tell their own parents that, you all don't seem to know too many things. I can get my own answers from the web. So if a little bit of knowledge is going to lead to so much ego, what is the point in saying that knowledge leads to humility? When I was contemplating about it, I started thinking that the converse is actually true. The knowledge which leads to humility is the true knowledge. Now, what kind of knowledge leads us to true humility? When somebody does something well, we go and appreciate them. We tell them that, you know what, you're really good at this. Whatever you did here was absolutely fantastic. So we develop the humility in us. So if we want to feel humble, we'll have to appreciate another person. But we'll have to remember that there is a very thin line between appreciating and flattery. So the other person might think that, hey, why is this person, flattering me? What does that person need from me? And things like that. And instead of thinking that we are humble, they might think that we are weak. There is a possibility that they may belittle us. On the other hand, we might end up feeding up their high ego. So a lot of these are possibilities. And when one person has a good quality, there is also another probability that that person might have a lot of weakness. So we start looking at their weakness also. So it's a lot of things that happens here. Now, why am I telling all this? It's because we have to appreciate others to feel humble, but appreciating another person has its own consequences. So who is the only person who we can keep appreciating anytime, how many ever times, who has no consequence at all? The only such person is our Lord. We can keep appreciating Him because He has innumerous qualities. He is Saguna Brahmam. He is a person of all Kalyana Gunas. So we can appreciate Him to our heart's content, and we can get this quality of humility very easily. And that is the reason Naama Sankirtanam is the best Vidya. This Vidya dadati vinayam. This statement becomes true. This Vidya leads us to humility. Now, when we start appreciating the Lord is like our mother. He pats us. He enjoys it. Anything we say, He appreciates. He is happy with us. On the other hand, we get all the positive qualities by repeating His names over and over and over again. So here we have Krishna's names. Chant and be blessed.